Hi, everybody. If you are sensitive to other people's energy, mine may come across as a little intense as I am making this video, and so I decided that I would add a little bit of diversion by placing myself at the console, just so maybe it won't affect you so powerfully if you're sensitive to that kind of thing. And the console is appropriate because this is a bit about the aha moment of realizing we are at the helm when it comes to our own lives. We hear free will tossed around a lot and don't really realize that it always applies even with spirit. We do get to drive the bus when it comes to our own life. We get to decide which corners we're going to take and how fast we're going to take them, and if we even want to stay on the road. Maybe we want to take that gravel road and investigate an area we have never been before. So I will tell you that I already made this video once a few hours ago, and when I went to edit it, I just could not get it to sync, and I didn't have the patience. And so now I have slept for a couple hours, yes, in my clothes, that happens. And you're getting me without mascara or lipstick, and I have the lovely bed head, but it's not about me or what I look like. This was kind of an important discovery for me. Now, I want to say that just like anything on my channel, I'm just expressing my opinion. And you don't ever have to take anything as your truth just because it is mine. If it resonates, accept it, and if it doesn't, then it's not yours. Trying to think, how am I going to put this? Apparently, I'm a little uncomfortable at the helm. And I think that's what happens with a lot of us. We get so used to thinking that everything is scripted ahead of time and that we are just players in the production that the universe puts on. But it's not the case. We do have free will in all situations. Now, really, I'm thinking, why am I going into this? Because this isn't really the point of this video, but yes, it is. And sorry for the wheezing, I'm having some issues. So, people that have been raised in the church often think that they don't dare step outside what has been set out as their role to please a vengeful God. I don't believe in a vengeful God. I actually had a hard time adjusting when I learned that God is everything and that we are part of God, that we're all divine, because I was used to praying to, for me anyway, the way I was raised in the church that I was encouraged to attend, put gently, when I was a kid. God was not vengeful. He was loving, but you always prayed to him to help you out when you were in a sticky situation or when you were scared. I had the picture of this benevolent Zeus-like creature in a big throne with a long white beard. We get certain things in our minds, but the whole point of this is that we think everything is up to this benevolent Father with a capital F that will look after us if we toe the line and do what's been set out as the proper way to do things. And now I am metaphysical. I have to accept that there is no benevolent Father who's gonna save my ass, that my choices lead me into situations that I have to deal with, that my choices set me up for certain experiences. And really, it still is something to adjust to, that I can't say, oh, please help me get out of this. That I have control over what happens, and that sometimes, no matter how much I might want to say, please, please, universe, help me get out of this, there are certain experiences that can be avoided because they're there to allow me to figure out how to come through it in the most unscathed way, I guess you would say. So there's a little bit of background for what I discovered today. Well, I guess now it was yesterday, but we hear about certain rules even in the metaphysical world. It's not the 10 Commandments, but there are certain principles that we hear about and we think that we have to adhere to, and that we are stuck. That there's no use in thinking in a more positive way or in manifesting. We're told we're supposed to be able to manifest, but then when things don't come out the way that we hope they would in our manifestation, we're told that it wasn't in divine order, or it isn't the right timing because the divine isn't on board with this timing, or no, we can't have what we wanted to manifest because it's not for our highest good. There's kind of that conflict. You control your own destiny. Oh, but wait, unless it doesn't match with what the divine has in mind for you. And by the way, everything that happens is for you, not to you. Some of the things that we learn and that we embrace because it's so widely accepted are really good for getting us through life. Some of the things, not so much. And it's one of those not so much things that, again, just in my opinion, this video is about. Pardon me for just a minute. I can feel my nose starting to drip and I can hear my doggy needing to go out to go potty, so I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I will just say that you may hear little tippy toes in the background because he wasn't quite happy with the amount he got for his breakfast. And he's wandering around hoping that maybe something's going to magically appear in a corner of the kitchen, which is right behind me. So there has been this thing that has been bugging me for a while, and I've mentioned it to my spiritual team a couple times, but never really pressed, because I have been in that obedient mode that we are taught when we're raised in the church. I have been towing the line. I have been going along with the tests that have been put through and not really raising too much of a ruckus. I have kind of brought up this niggling issue. I have, but not stuck with it until I got some kind of response that satisfied me. Yesterday, it was different because it was kind of a boiling pot that finally gets to the point that if you're not watching it closely, goes over the edges and makes a big mess out of your stove. That was me with the buildup of emotion. Well, let's be honest, anger that has been rising in me because I haven't found a healthy way yet to release it. And I get to the point I just blow. And I blew at spirit. It was about this transformation stuff that I've been going through. I know that I have survived everything. I know that I've learned a lot. I know that I have grown. But it has been quite rough. And the justification is, well, you're meant for something big in this world. You'll be helping people, and you need to build up a certain amount of resilience. You have to be strong. You have to be able to stand up for yourself, stay standing, be willing to share your opinions and not be swayed if those opinions are not popular, because you have an important role. So I was like, okay, it's not exactly what I would choose right now. Honestly, I'd like to go back to being ignorant about all this stuff. I would go back to being asleep in a hot minute compared to the stuff I've been through. But okay, there is no going back. I realize that. Now here's why I have been questioning and why yesterday I pushed until I got a response. When we decide to do personal work, we are working toward being the best version of ourselves. And I have said more than once to Spirit, well, wait a minute. When you're trying to prepare me to be a better or best version of myself by putting me through all this stuff and not giving me a life jacket, making me figure out how to get through it, or figure out how much you are helping me through it, even though in the background. Aren't you basically saying that where I am now is not good enough? You're saying I need to be a better version. So that's like saying you are only at the okay level, lady. We need you to be at the better version level. And I was like, that doesn't seem to fit that well with unconditional love. It seems to me that what I've been going through has been quite conditional. It seems to me that each thing that you are trying to change in me so I can be a better version is being criticized as not good enough. And, I get this special mission or special task or however you want to put it. If I work hard, suffer and survive, and elevate myself to this better version, how is that not conditional? How does this fit in with unconditional love? How does this fit in with what I have been telling people about accepting themselves just as they are, accepting that what they're doing right now, what they're thinking, how they're feeling, light attributes or shadow attributes is exactly where they're supposed to be. They are perfect in their imperfection. They don't need to try to be anyone else but themselves. They should accept and love everything about their journey because they're doing what they're supposed to do, and they don't have to be anything but themselves, their authentic selves. How does that fit in when then they're hearing this assertion that they should be working toward being their best version. That's basically saying, oh no, that version was okay, but there's a much better one. You just have to do the work. Now, maybe that's not making sense to anyone else, but to me, I have been trying to break the habit of trying to earn love. How I grew up, the attention I got was very much related to whether I excelled at something to the point that I could be bragged about. I had to earn the attention. And it's been a very hard habit for me to break. To not be people-pleasing, to not be doing what I think others expect me to do or want me to do, to meet their agendas, because then they might love me, or at least they'll like me. Maybe I'll fit in if I do as people want me to do. You know, I have had a hard time breaking that one. That people-pleasing comes from a sense of insecurity that no one will accept us, welcome us into their fold, love us, admire us, unless we put aside what we feel is right for us and do what they expect of us. And so, thus the question is spirit. Excuse me, unconditional love is not putting conditions on people, not saying they have to do this, this, or this to earn your love. Aren't you basically making me earn by working toward this better or best version? So then, pushing hard enough, really being pretty pissed off, I'll be honest. I was given the analogy, I guess, or illustration, that just as the Bible is written by men who put their own slant into it, a lot of these metaphysical theories or things we are to aspire to are also come up with by men, women, people who have their own slant to it. You know, there are some pretty different modalities of healing out there that people come up with that are original. They may be divinely inspired, but they're different, and it takes a while for them to catch on. But they're no different than any of these other things in that they are being set out as things that people should want as to their healing, or things that people should do so that they can elevate their vibrations. I mean, a lot of this is conditions. It's conditional. And so if that wasn't clear, because it is, almost 3 a.m, and I've had a bit of struggle. It didn't make sense to me, because what I know, in that knowing, is that this is all supposed to be about love, ultimately. Triumphing over fear, learning to first love ourselves unconditionally so that we can love others unconditionally. And love does not require earning. Love is not supposed to include conditions. Oh, yeah, maybe I'll love you if you do this, this, or this to keep me happy. Or maybe I will be proud of you if you get that to A+. Or maybe I will be happy with you if you take up with this woman or that man. We're used to conditions from people, but I didn't think that it would be right that there would be conditions from spirit. I kept feeling like I was being judged to not be enough at where I was. Therefore, I had to go through this or had to go through that to grow and elevate my vibration and jump through hoops, basically, to get to a level I would be deemed the right choice for a certain mission. I kept thinking that I was being told the old version was crap, and that's why I needed to change. And that is what is being put out there, and a lot of people are following. Do you see how it just doesn't really fit in with unconditional love? Oh, yeah. You were doing the best you could there at that level, but let's move you up to a better version by you doing this. Resolve this issue, resolve that issue, then you'll be a better version. Now, if you really want to be the best version, oh my goodness, yeah, you have a lot ahead of you. It's judging. It's comparison because, okay, better, best. Best is obviously superior to better, and better, of course, is superior to okay. God forbid that you be in a low vibration or anything that we might deem to be worse than okay. These are the kinds of things that are set out by men and women that are human just like us. And they may have been controversial when they first came out, but they've become accepted, and a lot of people have climbed onto that particular bandwagon and are putting themselves through a lot of judgment without realizing it, like I was. Yeah, but why wasn't I okay how I was? I thought I was supposed to love myself exactly as I am, and that includes whatever level I happen to be at in my spiritual journey. Judgment doesn't fit in with love. Comparisons don't fit in with love. This is where I was getting stuck and finally got so pissed off that I had to have that confrontation. And to sum up, the answer was, a lot of these things have been designed by man, woman, spiritual person that has come upon a theory to put out there, a theory that happens to have become quite popular. As the divine, we have never thought that you weren't good enough where you were. We have been giving you opportunities to grow should you choose to go in that direction, but we love you. Whether you jump through these hoops you keep talking about or not. We're giving you opportunities to see the way that you limit yourself with the beliefs that were formed many, many years ago. We're giving you the opportunity to work toward an attitude about yourself that is accepting and loving, that doesn't allow you to see yourself as needing to deserve by earning, that helps you see your own power ultimately, that allows you to be more at peace and to find happiness in life. We're not saying you weren't good enough as you were. We loved you then, we love you now. You have to accept that humans look at things differently than we do, and a lot of these things that people are following were designed by humans. They were not direct channeling from the divine. They were an interpretation of what fit best. So, I'm having a hard time trying to set this out. I don't want you to think that I wouldn't encourage you to do personal work. But what I am suggesting is that maybe you start looking at it differently. Not striving to be a better version because the previous version was only okay. And you've been told you need to do this or that and raise your vibration and be that better version, and so you're complying. I don't want you to do the personal work because you think that the version you are now isn't good enough. Any version of you is good enough. Any version of you is loved by the divine. You're not needing to work toward a better or best version of yourself. You are perfect in your imperfection at every point in this game of life. You don't have to earn the love of the divine. And really, you don't have to earn the love of anyone on earth by doing what they want you to do. That might be personal work. That might be putting all your own needs aside and catering to theirs. This earning thing has to go. This idea that we're not okay unless we have a certain amount of approval by family and friends, by society, that we are at the level we should be. So I'm going to suggest that yes, you keep doing your personal work, but not because you've been told that you need to be the best version. It should be because you know that how you're thinking right now maybe isn't leading you to that inner peace and happiness. You know that you're pretty hard on yourself because you feel like you're not measuring up or that you're never getting things right enough. You shouldn't be doing personal work because people tell you you need to. That you're not really a very good spiritual person unless you are willing to do all that hard personal work to be your best version. I'm not putting down the personal work. Every bit of growth that I've gone through has gotten me to a closer place to being at peace and accepting myself. And yeah, a lot of it has involved pain, but that was mainly because I was having to let go of these limiting beliefs and ways of looking at myself. Each thing that I managed to get through made me realize that I did kind of do something good because I survived that. Not always with grace and humor, sometimes with this to the universe, but I did manage to get through that. I guess I am kind of strong. Then the next one comes, look, I guess, yeah, I'll leave out the kind of, I guess I am strong. And at this point, I'm like, I'm strong as fuck. I don't need any more, illustrations of that. Can we just ease off on this kind of stuff? Please consider, instead of working toward a better or best version of yourself, that you are actually working toward advancement in your healing so that you can have a better life of accepting and loving yourself. It's not for anyone else that you do this. It's not because you've been told you should. It's not because you've been told you're avoiding shadows and it's going to keep you stuck. It shouldn't be because someone tries to shame you about being in low vibration and tells you that you need to eat more of this and let go of that before you can possibly get into those higher vibrations, where of course they already are. You know, that's judgment, that's comparison, that's setting people up for continuing the pattern of thinking they have to earn approval and attention and love. So screw this better or best version stuff, in my opinion, and instead think about advancing in your healing for your own life that is the end goal of happiness and peace, joy, living your bliss. If you are working at becoming a better or best version of yourself because someone told you you need to, and you are not thinking about doing this for yourself, for healing, it's not the right motivation. If you are doing the personal work to get somebody's attention or to please somebody or to feel like you're now at a spiritual level that should make you more acceptable, you're still doing it for the wrong reasons. Don't do this stuff for other people or because you've been told you should, because you've been made to believe that how you are now is not good enough. You're good enough at every moment. The divine knows that. The divine loves you, whether you are screwing up right and left or you're acting like an angel and, crossing off all the things that will put you on Santa's good list. The divine loves you in each moment exactly as you are. It's when we get people into the mix and judgment and comparison that we go off track. When we're doing things not for our own healing so we can live a life of joy and bliss and peace, we're off track. So I'm not saying, oh, this should become the new catchphrase at all. I don't think anything is going to be making that work for your better or best version stuff go away. And I don't need it to. Just for the few people that might come by my channel and see this, changing the way we look at why we're doing the personal work and where we think it's going to get us, that's enough. And if this doesn't fit with how you want to look at things, that is okay. I don't need people to agree with me anymore. It's been a long, hard fight to get to that place, but I'm here. You're entitled to believe what you want to believe. I'm entitled to believe what I want to believe. You own your truth, I'll own mine. Let's peacefully coexist, realizing that everyone gets to have their own truth. And if this is a subject that causes more conflict between us, let's agree to disagree and not bring up the things that might put us at odds. Let's try to stay loving to each other. And that may be avoiding certain subjects. To be loving to each other, we have to quit trying to tell people that there's only one way to do things and they're not doing it. I don't know if this is going to make any sense. I guess I'll figure it out when I edit, which will probably be the next time I get up after a couple hours of sleep. I guess we'll just leave you with this. Just because something's popular doesn't mean it's a good fit for you. most of what is out there has just become so well known that everyone thinks that they should be doing it too. You don't always have to go with what's popular. You definitely shouldn't go with things that don't resonate with you. You shouldn't be going along just because that's what you're supposed to be doing. If it feels like not right, so not right, which is why I got to that point yesterday. This is so not right. This is conditional. This is not what you're supposed to be about. Why wasn't I good enough then? Why do I have to do blah, 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 blah? It's okay to ask, why is it this way? It's okay to say, you know what, I could take a little bit of that theory and a little bit of this theory, and then maybe it would fit more with me. You have to be willing to, okay, let me think how I want to put this. Rewrite, even if it's not popular. Revise to suit you personally, even though it might take you out of the obedient following. Life is not all about being obedient. It's about living in the best way we can. I'm sorry, I'm going so slow. I'm trying to get this coming in and coming out properly. Oh, but see, that's judgment. Properly. See, we're too worried about doing things properly. We're too worried about whether someone's going to say we're not doing it right. We don't want to buck the system, but we have to remember that just as the Bible was authored by other humans just like us, a lot of the things that we consider mandatory practices in spirituality are also authored by humans, people that are just like us. And sometimes we're not meant to follow that particular herd. Sometimes we're supposed to be that single sheep that's setting off in a new direction. Just always go with love. If you're having a hard time deciding, love doesn't involve judgment, doesn't involve comparison, because there is only one you. There's no one else like you. You can't compare a one-of-a-kind item to other items. It's apples and oranges. So comparison doesn't belong here. Judgment doesn't belong here. Doing what everyone says you're supposed to do doesn't belong here. What feels right to you and what gets you to a place of loving and accepting yourself and knowing that you are entitled to live a life of joy and bliss and peace, that belongs here. We do what we can to drop what limits us from happiness. And if we're doing our personal work for any other reason, but striving for that acceptance and love of ourselves so that we can then love others in that same unconditional way, it's just a different way of looking at things that I'm proposing. It's something you can think about or not think about. I just think that there is a different way that we could be looking at things that would take us away from feeling like we have to jump through hoops, because from personal experience that comes with a lot of resentment. Low vibration emotion, All right, I hope you can grab a little snippet here and a little snippet there that makes sense. I'll try to clean it up in editing, but I can't promise I can make sense of this. I know that I have started sentences and not completed them properly because I kind of, meandered off. But at this very moment, I'm exactly where I should be and doing exactly what I'm capable of in my journey of healing. All right, guys, take